Good evening, everyone. I am your general manager, the Big Lendowski, leader of the LenWO, and former Fellowship of the Brass Ring World Heavyweight Champion. As much as it pains me to say that, I do want to give a big shout out to the Mexicutioner. He did beat me fair and square at Backlash, out-predicted me, and now he is your new Fellowship of the Brass Ring World Heavyweight Champion. As ridiculous as it sounds, for as little as I held the belt, it really was, and now I understand why Colton Cabana was all in on it, because it really does change your mindset on, I think, not just our fantasy league, but the thread in general. It sucked losing that belt, that piece of cardboard that was done really well, don't get me wrong, but, it's one of those things that I really didn't want to lose that thing. I'll get it back eventually. Not anytime soon once you see where I'm going with the points in the thread right now, or the fantasy league right now. But overall, congrats, Mexicutioner. Enjoy it while it lasts, because you can lose it at any second. That being said, let's get right into where the thread is as far as finishing week one. Raw, or including Backlash points, so Backlash, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, leading into week 2, which would be another Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and then Clash of Champions right after that. Season 3 is going to be a very short one, and I think we're going to see a trend with this as far as brand separate pay-per-views, which is fine. It leads for extra, prediction matches and more opportunities for people to win the belt. So in the last place, this is kind of a hard pill to swallow. I went from being the champion to being in last place with negative 17 points. I would need 17 points just to be able to say I'm broke. So this is kind of, Lendowski World Order will return. 6th place, Josh Rollins with 5 points. 5th place, the Mexicutioner with 17 points. Your Fellowship of the Brass Ring World Heavyweight Champion is in 5th place right now, but he still has that belt, and we'll see who's going to challenge him for the belt at Clash of Champions. 4th place, Colton Cabana with 26 points. And tied for 2nd place, both with 30 points, Heart Puncher Ox Saunders and Nathanity. Now, to reveal the first place, obviously it's the only person I haven't said, first place with 49 points in week 1 of season 3 is the Jewel. She has really turned around since our first season, where she was like negative 50 or whatever it was. So we'll see if everyone can continue, see who can gain points, lose points leading into week 2 of season 3. And we'll see who will end up vying against the Mexicutioner for our prestigious title. Now, the main reason I wanted to make this video is that I just watched the end of the Cruiserweight Classic, and wow, was I completely wrong on the last 3 matches. I was way off. I thought it was going to be Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi going head-to-head for it, but I was way off. It was Grand Metalik and TJ Perkins. Great match. Pretty much every match of the Cruiserweight Classic was just beautiful. Really well done. So that being said, we do have some wrestlers who have been announced as part of the Cruiserweight division on Raw. And I figured we'd handle this a little differently, just to make it a little even, actually a little more friendly, as far as so each person has close to a similar amount of wrestlers on the Cruiserweight division. So right now, the 10 names that have been listed are Grand Metalik, Akira Tozawa, Jack Gallagher, Cedric Alexander, Brian Kendrick, Tommaso Ciampa, TJ Perkins, Rich Swann, Noam Dar, and Johnny Gargano. Now, out of those 10, 3 of them have already been drafted because they were part of NXT prior. Rich Swann, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano. And the way I'm seeing this to be the most fair is, obviously, if we do just a general draft, whoever just happens to go first is going to pick TJ Perkins, because he is the new Cruiserweight champion leading into Monday, which is great. He's a fantastic wrestler, and I'm excited for that. So what I decided to do with the Cruiserweight division is, obviously, we take away the 3 who are grandfathered in. They're already on rosters. They really just don't count towards this. So that's removing Tommaso Ciampa, Rich Swann, and Johnny Gargano. And even going so far as to remove the champion, TJ Perkins, just to make it so that it's just contenders for the Cruiserweight Championship. That leaves 6 gentlemen to choose from. Now, Nathanity does already have 2 members of the Cruiserweight division. So what I figured what we would do is we would take him out of the equation. He doesn't get to pick anyone. He's got Rich Swann and Tommaso Ciampa, I believe. Let me just double check with that. Yeah, Tommaso Ciampa. And so he's already got 2. Colton Cabana does have Johnny Gargano, but it's not a perfect number, so it's not going to be even. So what we would do is, after removing the 3 who've already been picked or who are already on the rosters, and then Nathanity not getting to choose, it leaves, and then removing the champion as well, it leaves with 6 wrestlers and 6 of us to choose from. We'll do a drawing out of a hat, kind of in order. We're not going to go in the same order we had the draft in last time, but we will choose an order out of a hat, and you get to pick down the row. So unfortunately, whoever gets drawn last is stuck with whoever's last. But what we're gonna do, because we still have to draft TJ Perkins, is I've gone through and looked at it right now, and as of this moment, Nathanity has 2 champions. He has Asuka, the NXT Women's Champion, and he has Rhino, one half of the SmackDown Tag Champions. The Executioner has 2 champions in the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. Colton Cabana has 5 freaking champions. He's got Kevin Owens. He's got all members of the New Day, Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods. He's got Shinsuke Nakamura, and let me just double check. I know I'm missing someone here. Yeah, so that's 5. Yeah, Kevin Owens, Big E, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Josh Rollins has 1 champion. He has Rusev, the United States champion on Raw. The Jewel has 3 champions. She's got the AJ Styles, the WWE World Champion, the Miz, the Intercontinental Champion on SmackDown, and then the other half of the SmackDown Tag Champion, Heath Slater. Hart Puncher Rock Saunders has 1 champion. She has the SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. And then your general manager, the Big Lendowsko, has 1 champion. I have Charlotte, the Raw Women's Champion. So looking at that, there's 3 of us who only have 1 champion. So those 3 of us will be put into a hat. And whatever name gets pulled, that's the person who gets TJ Perkins. I think that's the fairest way to do it. Everybody gets 1 or 2 maybe members of the Cruiserweight division, and there's a fair way to, so that not the first person's automatically going to get the champion, because we all know that that's a guaranteed 20 points in almost any type match. I think that's the fairest way to do it. If you guys disagree, please let me know. I kind of put some thought into this. I think that's the fairest way to do it. I know it sounds a little confusing, so I can clarify if you need it. But we finally are at a point since the brand split where every belt is not vacant. For a long time, the women's SmackDown belt was vacant. The SmackDown tag belts were vacant, and the Cruiserweight were vacant. So now we know who owns what belt. Now, obviously, things will change going forward, and it, will boil down to, who wins and who loses. But I think as at the moment, the way we are splitting up the Cruiserweight division is the most fair way to look at it. Other than that, I got really nothing else to say. It's been a fun few months since we started at Battleground. SummerSlam was a blast. I know I really haven't done a video since SummerSlam, and I wish I had, because right behind me, like right around here, you'd see my belt. It's not my belt anymore, but it was my belt. So I wish I could have incorporated my belt in one of my videos, but I got lazy. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. As always, I am your strict but fair general manager, the Big Lendowski, leader of the Lendowski World Order, and former one-time Fellowship of the Brass Ring World Heavyweight Champion. I bid you adieu.